Sabotaged by Stu. I did yoga nidra, and suddenly something came back to me. Stathium. Stathium. Genetic predisposition studies suggest that the certain genes like stathium gene can influence both innate and learned fear responses, making some individuals naturally more risk to aversion to averse things. The amygdala sensitive individual differences in the brain structures like the amygdala can lead to more conservative threat detection, causing more frequent false alarms and extreme anxiety. Now, stithium is literally the thing that enables fear in the human mind. Uh, I spoke about this. Techno-Blade. I did a story. One of the things I talked about in this was Techno-Blade's death and how we injected his spine with something to give him cancer. That happened because I was using my cell phone that Stu bugged. And because Stu's a loser and had nothing better to do while he was sitting in prison where he belonged, um, he he didn't call me. He interfered in the call when I was talking to Technoblade and told me to tell him that all speedrunners get cancer. The same thing happened when I was talking about Chester Bennington hanging himself. I was talking to Mike Shinoda. And basically, they ended up forcing Chester Bennington to hang himself. Uh, the same thing happened when I was giving Pastel money. That's Carolina Herrera. I was sending her money, and the wives told me not to give her money, and then Stu said on the phone to give her money, and I put Stu in charge of my PA for whatever reason. So when I killed Technoblade, he told everybody I was jealous of Technoblade. Like, why the fuck would I be jealous of Technoblade? I just reported the world's second largest human trafficking ring. Um, and the wives started getting mad. I talked to some Christian guy, and Stu told me to send him money on my phone because I was using my phone. What happened with why I was using my phone is out there is a rotary phone, and I don't know how to use a rotary phone. I don't. Uh, and I thought I did because the wives hypnotized me into thinking I did, but I actually never learned how. Uh, and that's the sad truth. So I would actually ask Jasmine to dial it for me. Uh, and you're not allowed to help the president, so nobody would actually help me with anything. When I needed chelation therapy, I wasn't allowed to have help. If I needed to dial that phone, I wasn't allowed to have help. So Jasmine refused to help me dial that phone, so I had to use my cell phone. And each time I used my cell phone, I'd end up talking to Stu, who would interfere in everything, even Akira Toriyama's death. Akira Toriyama, I told him about my great idea for Dragon Ball Super, and then Stu said that Akira Toriyama was going to have a heart attack. And then I said, what? Akira Toriyama was going to have a heart attack. And then he had a heart attack. Um, he did that so many fucking times to innocent people, including Carolina Herrera. Um, there was, like I said, some Christian YouTuber that had to shoot himself. No. A guy had to shoot him in the head, and that guy went into witness protection. And then he got out of witness protection. Um, but in between there, coming back to what I was talking about, Stithium, they give you CRISPR to alter your genes, to alter who you are. And the guy that was giving me the CRISPR stuff, basically, because these guys were like, oh, the fear brain is amazing. You turn up the fear and the stithium, and it's good. And Stu started telling me to turn the stithium up in my head. And this goes back to a comment an elite mummy god said that said, if you overcome that fear, you will never be afraid of anything ever again. Uh, That's because I didn't know anything about genealogy. I was just taking the advice of the guy on the phone. And unfortunately for me, the guy on the phone sometimes was Stu, and sometimes was the fucking CRISPR guy. And my Choline receptors was another thing. The guy, Stu, kept encouraging me to cut back on the Choline in my head. That's not a joke. Using the CRISPR method. And the dude kept giving me the shots for it, and then he told me if they go any further, it'll give me Alzheimer's. And he's not going to do it. He's not going to give me Alzheimer's. He refused. And he was telling me to stop listening to Stu. And the wives were screaming at me to stop listening to Stu. I don't know if I was hypnotized into believing Stu was my friend or something. I don't know why I was doing that outside of the fact that I had cadmium in my brain, I had lead in my brain. This fed into a bunch of other things I did that were really stupid that got a lot of people killed. And it was all Stu. Literally, I would call people and then he would say something on the line, or he would pretend to be the person I'm talking to, and then I'd say something that would get that person killed. And I did that a lot, by the way. There's a lot of people. One of the dudes was like really skilled, and I remember talking to him. He was super smart, and I could see a bright future for him. And I was like, cool, I'm going to give this guy his bright future. This is going to be amazing. And then Stu interfered, and he said something in their made up language. And then he told me to repeat it, and I repeated it, and they ended up just straight up executing that guy. Because that guy was going to be something amazing. And I don't even know who that guy was. But he was going to be like something really fucking good. In this kept happening. I guess fuck you, Stu. You fucking piece of shit. Imagine being such a fucking loser. Whatever, man. Just whatever. So yes, lithium is why my body basically seizes up and stops working, because it was put in there by CRISPR, and it was put in there through CRISPR because Stu kept interfering in the process. And I remember the dude on the phone telling me to stop listening to Stu, and the wives did it too. I talked to some guy. It was a super important call, going out to like Israel. In mid conversation, Stu started talking, so Jasmine just grabbed the phone and grabbed my phone and just walked off with it mid conversation, because she knew Stu was up to no good. And they were telling me to find a different person to do my PA stuff other than Stu, because Stu was just knifing me in the back, and then telling me what I wanted to hear, and then knifing me in the back, and then telling me what I wanted to hear, and then knifing me in the back. This shit kept happening, and I guess, it's easy to fool the stupid guy you poisoned with heavy metals, so there's that. It's weird to think that I got so many people fucking killed because Stu had my phone bugged and I kept using my phone. But it's also incredibly stupid to think that I literally told these people to debug my phone and stop letting Stu intercept my calls, and they didn't do it. Once again, my story is, this is what happens when you refuse to help people. And I think the ending of all this will be, again, this is what happens when you refuse to help people. And I think that's the only thing to say in this is what happens when you refuse to help people. Especially, and I want to talk about this because the wives were like, "Oh, when you're struggling and it's really hard. That's when it's good, because then you get to prove yourself." And I guess that's the whole reason these people don't help you, because you're supposed to feel a sense of pride in overcoming something you can't overcome. I don't know how to debug a fucking phone. I don't know how to bug a phone. I don't have those goddamn skills. You sitting there telling me I need to... Whatever, man. My point about this is, if somebody had just shut the fuck up and fucking helped me. But I think this feeds into toxic religion. Okay. I mean, the equivalence of this would have been me making a bomb and then handing it to Stu and go, you figure it out. Like, once again, I mean, that would be a wonderful fate for Stu, because it would definitively prove he's not a god and he's not special at all. Boom. Too bad he's not special or unique in any way. But, yeah. And I can sit here and go, why didn't anybody debug my phone? Why didn't anybody help me? But this kept happening when I was president. I would ask somebody, one of the Ys, for help, and they would refuse to help me, and I would just stare at them. I think I may have even ordered the death of one of, like, dude, Stu was really fucked up, because even one of my wives I was talking to on the phone, I told her to eat beanie weenies, and it was because Stu said it. He was like, tell her to eat beanie weenies, and I told her to eat beanie weenies. Like, this shit kept happening to me. Yeah. These people just, whatever. Toxic religion. In our religion, you do everything yourself, or you fail. Oh, I don't care. Oh, I don't care. Oh, I don't care. Don't ask me. Bang. The proper response. We are ideologically opposed. And I think we will always be ideologically opposed. If you ever go, why does that Bobby guy hate us so much, and why does he only want to kill us? My ideology is help people. Your ideology is figure it out, I don't care. Which is called neglect, by the way, and it's what my father does. And I hate my father, so I hate you. Get used to it. Yeah. I don't know why I only remembered this now, like even the Cho line thing. And there's a couple other brain chemicals. When I was reading this thing, it was talking about sulfurgates and basically gut bacteria. And remember I mentioned I have a gut bacteria problem? That may have been by design through CRISPR. And that gut bacteria I'm missing might be why I literally am biochemically not to have courageous action. I'm engineered to not be courageous by these people, and then they were like, all you gotta do is be courageous after we engineer you not to be courageous. Maybe the wish should be, you guys need to use CRISPR to take away every church leader's courage. And then all they have to do is overcome it. I think that would be funny. I think that would be hilarious. Imagine not having the chemicals in your brain to be brave, and then being told to be brave. Imagine Blondie. Imagine all the church leaders just like me when I took that cold bath. Yeah.